Hi everybody, it's Tom from FindTheBestCarPrice.com. Today we're going to look at the 2022 Genesis G70. This is the Prestige version, and I tell you what, for $52,065, I think you get quite a bit, but you'll have to make that decision ultimately for yourself. So let's take a look at what's new for 2022 with these models. You're going to notice a new design here with the front headlights. That's going to accent the rear tail lights, but the biggest difference you'll see here, Genesis trying to kind of bring this into the same look as their other models. So you're going to have that shield style grille right here, a very nice look. Got that gloss black, and if you like that, well, you definitely have quite a bit of it there. And the chrome surround right here that tapers down to that V right there, just giving it a very solid look. And I like the fact that you've got the nice large Genesis logo right here. Some of the car makers these days seem to be going to smaller logos. Overall, a car that has a very menacing look, to say the least. And here under the hood, one of the primary reasons why this car is so fun to drive, it's going to be the 3.3 liter turbocharged 6-cylinder, putting out 365 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And this model is rear-wheel drive. That's going to make it a lot more fun to drive. What about MPGs? With all that horsepower under the hood, where do they come in? 18 miles per gallon city, 27 out on the highway, a combined total of 22, and 4.8 gallons of gas should be consumed per every 100 miles you drive. That's a good thing in this day and age. Okay, let's talk about tire sizes real quick. 225/40 on the front here, surrounding those 19-inch wheels. And back here on the rear, you'll find the 255/35, again, surrounding the 19-inch wheels. All right, let's take a look at the remote for the G70. A very sturdy remote, a lot of great features and functionality there, including remote start. And if you're wondering, do those mirrors fold in when you lock the vehicle? Yes, they do. You'll also notice the turn signal indicator built in right here. And on the bottom of both side view mirrors, not only here on the passenger side, but also on the driver's side, you will notice that you have those cameras down there. That gives a great view. There's quite a few cameras on this vehicle. We'll show you that when we get into the interior in just a little bit. If you have the remote on your person, you can touch the door handle. It's going to lock and or unlock. So now let's work our way to the rear and talk about a little bit of the functionality. Obviously, you can use the remote to open this rear trunk area, but I'll push the button right there, and it's nice that it actually goes ahead and opens for you. Very nice feature there. 10.5 cubic feet of cargo space. You have the protective carpet right here, kind of almost a floor mat style, but it's pretty big, but it fits back here with that Genesis logo on it. And let's see if I can do this without getting in Carrie's way. Right here, we'll go ahead and show you the spare tire. So there you go, and the tools to change that if you ever need to. And there is a release on the top of the seats on the outside of each side. This is a split seat, as you can see. So I'm only going to let one side down, but that's how you're going to maximize your cargo space. And then I'll let Carrie come over and meet me here in the interior. We'll start talking about the rear seat area. It is a little bit cramped back here, not horribly, but at 5'10", you can see my head's just about touching the roof. Depending on who you are, you might want to call shotgun, just so you know. But I will admit, the overall design back here with the red contrast stitching, the red seat belts, it looks great back here. It looks great throughout the entire interior, that's for sure. You also have the cup holders built in to the armrest right here. And something else that I am kind of surprised that I don't see in more vehicles, when you have your child safety seats back here, usually you have to pop that out. Sometimes you can move it up and out of the way, but it stays in place. Here it's spring-loaded. I think that's probably the best design that I've seen so far of those child safety seat anchors. And even though we don't have the shade open, we do have a very nice size, not your conventional size sunroof, not quite panoramic, but as you can see, it is larger than what you would normally have. On the back of the console right here, we also have the dual air conditioning vents, but surprisingly just one USB port. In this day and age, you would think there would be two. All right, let's take a look at what we have here in the front seat. And like I said, I'm gonna have Carrie come in and just show you the sunroof real quick. We went ahead and opened that shade just so you can see what that looks like when it's open. That is a nice large sunroof. I think normally it would come to about right there, maybe something like that if it was the conventional size. We'll give you a fair look at the door right there, the door panel on the passenger side. Again, you're gonna have some of that really nice contrast red stitching, really nice look, a little bit larger door bin. And then when we start to work our way into the interior, obviously power driver and passenger seats here, decent size space within the glove box. And I like the fact that unlike a lot of car makers, we don't see the floor mats installed on these videos, on the reviews. But here we have that, so you can see the Genesis logo there, just kind of a nice added touch. And I'll go ahead and have Carrie hop on in. I'm gonna hit the button here to close the power shade right there because I want you to be able to see everything really well. We'll come over here to the instrument cluster, a very tastefully done instrument cluster. Maybe not a lot going on there, but there is a lot of information you can work your way through via these steering wheel mounted controls. I'll let Carrie give you a good look on that. You can do everything you would expect to do here. You've got your lane departure, traction control, all that good stuff here within. Not only on the steering wheel, you can make a couple of changes, but other places as well. Adaptive cruise control is here, which is going to make those long drives a whole lot easier. But when you're driving spiritedly, which you're not going to do on those long drives most likely unless you want to make it faster, you've got these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters right here. I always like to talk about the fact that I'd really like to see those affixed to the steering column instead of the back of the steering wheel. So when you move the steering wheel, the shifter paddles don't move with the steering wheel. So just kind of something that I noticed. Moving on to the 10.25-inch touch screen here. A very nice and tastefully done screen. That's a change for 2022, by the way, within the interior. Kind of a floating touch screen instead of actually being part of the dashboard here, inset into the dashboard. Tell me what you think about that. And let's take a look at our views with the cameras. I teased a little bit of that earlier as to what you see. You've got the 360-degree view here. In fact, you can zoom in a little bit if you want to right there. But you also have multiple views depending on what you need to see. And here's the view for the side view mirror cameras that I mentioned also. And then you're going to have everything for controlling the radio right here, some one-touch buttons, and I'm going to have Carrie go back up to the screen real quick because I'm going to hit map right there just so you can see what you have in that area. And then our dual zone climate control down here, all the functionality for that kind of stuff, dual zone climate control, fan speed. You also have a heated steering wheel, which we really don't need today, in addition to the heated seats. In fact, we're really going to need the ventilated seats later on. In fact, it's getting to that point right now. And you have some connectivity down here also, but I want to share something with you that is very, very interesting. And that is the fact that while you have a wireless charging pad right here, if one of the doors is open in the vehicle, I'm not sure if it's just one door or all of them because we haven't tested all of it, but I know that we had the passenger side door open earlier and the charging pad would not recognize my phone. Kind of an interesting little thing to know right there. And then we have the shifter right here. Really a nice shifter, your conventional style shifter. You do have push button for park, but I don't think that's a big deal for those of you who don't like push button shifters, but that's what you have. And then right here, we've got several one touch right there. You can turn your traction control off. You've got auto hold mode, and you've got your power parking brake back here, and then your mode selector right here. So we'll have Carrie go back up there to the dashboard so that I can show you what the different driving modes are. Let's just start at the top. Eco, you've got Comfort, you've got Sport, then you have your Sport Plus. That's going to turn your traction control off, as you can see right there, and then we'll go down to Custom. Also, we'll do our test drive in Sport Plus right there. And then obviously you already saw the cup holders right there. And you have kind of a multitasker here for an armrest and the lid for the center console. And as you can see, there is your center console, very nicely done. Not that big, but it seems to fit the size of the car. There is an additional USB port right there. Maybe that one should be in the back seat. All right, here we go, test drive time. And you know, I'll tell you what, depending on what mode you drive in, this car is either really comfortable or really aggressive. And it's not that the ride quality is bad, but I'll tell you what, when you go into Sport Plus, which is what I'm in right now, it just changes the whole dynamic of the car all the way. You even have a heads-up display here. Kind of hard to show on a bright sunny day like this. It's a little bit hard even for me to see, but I can see it pretty well. It's bright, but we need to probably change the position. But just so you know that that is there. And if I put my head in the right place, it's actually very bright. So that's a good thing to have and to know that you have there. But I'll tell you what, having a rear-wheel drive car, so much fun. Now, one thing that has changed for 2022 that I did not mention earlier in the video is the fact that there's no longer a manual transmission available. And you might wonder, why is that? Well, it's because none of you were buying them. And that's why Genesis said, well, we don't need to have a manual transmission option anymore. So not enough sales on that type of setup, unfortunately. So other than that, I mean, I can't imagine having a manual transmission to drive this car with. And I'm looking at something on the dashboard. I'll show you a shot of it. But one of my favorite features here, for those of you who don't use your blinkers, if you buy a G70 like this with this particular model, such as what we're looking at today, you are going to want to make sure you use your blinkers, because on the right-hand side of the instrument cluster here, you will see your blind spot on either the right or left side, depending on which blinker you turn on. I really like that. That's not something you see in a lot of vehicles, but overall, just so much a fun car to drive. If we weren't in a residential area, I might drive a little more spiritedly here than I am at the moment, but obviously we want to be respectful. But if you're having a tough day, let's just say, and you're stressed out and you're thinking, man, I want to go out for a spirited drive and kind of get rid of some of this stress, well, the G70 will not let you down with this 3.3 liter turbocharged 6-cylinder under the hood. This car is a blast to drive. It's a really solid driver's car. It's not hard to drive, but if you're somebody with some good solid driving experience, you know how to handle a vehicle out on the road, I want to tell you what, this model will make you smile from ear to ear. And so we're just going to kind of cruise through here, kind of what I call a soft cornering test, because I don't want to go too fast. Well, we've got some people walking up here, so we're going to be nice and not do that. One's using the sidewalk as they should, and one isn't. And anyway, we don't want to take that risk, but we do have another corner coming up here where we can go through a little bit. Again, the soft cornering experience, just so everybody knows. We're not driving too aggressively, but you really don't feel a lot of body roll, and just the overall ability to maintain control of the car. It's so easy. You don't have to give a lot of steering input, and this leather wrapped steering wheel is comfortable. Depending on where you live, you might want to use the heated steering wheel function. Now, we don't do that right now because, well, the high is going to be in the high 70s today down here in Northwest Louisiana. Obviously, you don't need that. In fact, we have the ventilated seats on. Both of us do, myself and Carrie, my videographer over here. But let's get up the road a little bit more here, and we'll have a little more fun. All right, let's try it from a stop and see what happens. Wow. That is really impressive. Wow. That is impressive. It was kind of interesting. At the bottom of low gear, it just didn't seem like it was doing anything, but when it got to the top of first gear, the top of low gear, it went. Wow. Carrie's impressed in the passenger seat. Now, he wasn't so impressed that we got any breathing exercises out of him, but don't worry, we're going to do that again sometime, we promise. So, wow, what is my ultimate verdict here? I need more views on my videos so I can buy this car. That's my verdict. And then we can do this all the time. Genesis has really amazed me. We just recently started going to Genesis of Shreveport, and we have done a couple of videos with these G70s. I would never have one without the 3.3 liter turbocharged 6-cylinder under the hood. You just would not have any fun. Wow, I'm impressed. So let's get back to the dealership and we'll wrap this one up.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any vehicle you may be interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.